Hello and welcome to episode 19 of our Timberborn Update 6 Apocalypse Mode playthrough with the Iron Teeth. Cycle 14, day 17. Start of, well, not technically the start, but it was an 86-day drought. We had one day last episode. Now we have 85 left to go, which means, 1, we're not going to finish this drought this episode, and 2, we have a lot of time to do some stuff that we've kind of had to put off, including but not limited to putting a dam around this thing, even at a low priority, and then, perhaps much more importantly, finally doing something about this district and, well, it's not technically a separate district, but this area and getting it so it can't possibly ever flood again. There's a couple of different ways we can do that. You guys have suggested various solutions, but I think my favorite foolproof thing that you guys have brought up is, you can just put overhangs and then impermeable floors along with the entire thing, and then it can never overflow, no matter how much pressure is behind it. And like, you know what? That's a pretty smart idea. Now, obviously, that's going to be very expensive to do, and that's not really the way I prefer to play the game. But what I think is going to be a smart thing for us to try to focus on as we continue making more explosives is to get this trench all the way out, and then, where possible, on the exit, widen this a little bit. Although, honestly, I don't think it's going to be a problem. I think everything's going to be fine so long as we have stuff set up correctly. And while we're on that subject, I think you guys had a bunch of different ideas, most of them pretty good ones, to fix our problem with the bad water collecting here. And I think, the simplest solution is going to be the best one here. I'm going to go ahead at some point during this drought and just move this dam upstream. And then we're going to take these sluices and we're going to just kind of blast this out a little bit deeper so that all of the bad water can just, if there is ever bad water, which there should not be at any point after this, assuming we've done this correctly, could just go right the way out here and we'll see what happens. But I think in order of importance, the diversion channel is probably what needs to be accomplished first, and then after that we can worry about moving the dam. Currently, it is a cool 0% contaminated in here, which is fantastic, and more importantly means that we can just demolish this thing and have absolutely nothing go wrong. We're not going to do it yet, because we do still need to go across here to actually put this dynamite in once we have enough to make it, but that's where we stand on that. This contamination is still 1%, however, which is a little unfortunate, leftovers and all that. But we have a couple different ways to address that issue as well as we continue moving and taking care of other stuff. So, since we are in a very good position in terms of having crops growing and getting everything situated, I think at some point soon, not necessarily right now, but some point soon, we need to put in some sluices down, well, wherever we want this irrigated area to end, and have these just automatically open or close depending on the amount of contamination, so we don't have to have a bad water pump here to continually purge all the nasty that's brought out by these guys. So everything comes in time. It is a process. It does in fact take time, as we've said before many times. That's what we're looking at. We also need to continue increasing the storage capacity of the water, because obviously, while it's very good that we have so much water stored up here, it will evaporate. Theoretically, it shouldn't all evaporate by the end of 84 days, but we want to be pumping just as much as we can. So part of that is going to include putting some other tanks up here, and part of that is going to include putting some tanks up here, because this district, which I'm still accepting name suggestions for, by the way. A lot of you seem to think it should remain District 7, and I guess that can be an option in the poll when I finally end up running it, but if you have any interesting ideas, please do continue leaving those. I will pick my favorites, and then you guys can vote, and the winner will be the name, like we always do when we do new districts. But we need to have some more water storage in here, and we need to get this finished. Probably going to go ahead and get this fluid dump prioritized, and we'll get everything situated, so on and so forth. We're not going to have power up here for at least another 85 days, probably 86, because of how much is going to evaporate and have to come through here. So, if we want to do anything in this district that involves power, we're going to have to build an engine, which in this district might be a little bit of a challenge because we don't have a whole lot of resources. But We do have the district crossing. We've got 10 beavers on this side and only 2 on this side, which is fine because these guys just work as exporters. Now that I've, finally learned how district crossings work after playing close to 1,000 hours of Timberborn, but that's fine. We're going to need to build an engine over here to just try to run a little bit of this stuff. It's probably going to end up pausing the number cruncher, honestly, because it's 13,967 science that we have saved up, and we don't need all that right now. But in terms of construction, it is more important that we have this fluid dump and this farmhouse in place so that we can continue growing things up here, and they're going to be working on that. If we get everything else, major construction-wise, finished, then yes, I will start building these levees here. But we are not currently growing or harvesting enough wood in the top district here for that to be possible, so we will need to continue working on that. We do have trees here that we can cut down. We don't have very much wood here, but I think it's important for us to kind of take a measured approach in getting some of this stuff taken care of, because it's very easy to lose sight of priorities when you have things set up in a pretty stupid way. So, it's not always possible, it's not always reasonable to do what you absolutely have to do all the time as quickly as possible, because there's other things that are going to be important as well. But I think we're finally in a spot where we can start to just let stuff happen and not worry about it. Including, but not limited to, putting in another deep water pump here. If I can figure out a good place to stick this thing. Yes, this one is flooded. No, it will not work if it's flooded. We've established that. But I think it's going to be very important for us to have a pretty reliable source of water up here that is never going to be flooded. So I'm going to pop this guy in right here so they can have something going on. That guy can go there. This does not need to be here, which means, of course, we have space for a tank, and a medium tank is going to be just fine in this location right here. I don't think we need to really be that worried about anything else in this area right now, because we can still import water, and that's probably what we're going to be doing for most of time when we're working with this stuff. So leave this guy here, and that should be a-okay. Now, I imagine some of you are saying, well, why are you blocking this off? You have all this space you can put in other stuff. Well, okay, look at the structure of this. There isn't room to put water pumps and paths behind them on this same level here. So if I'm going to do that, I'm going to have to build platforms anyway, and then we don't need to be worrying about it. So that is what's going to be happening there. And we'll let them take their time to do that as they need to get it done. They're not going to die of thirst. They're not going to starve. Everything is okay up here because, again, we can import and life goes on. But we're going to go ahead and continue working on replacing things with eggplant over here. Replacing things with cassava over here. It's a process, the whole thing. But we really need to focus on, construction-wise, putting in some more water storage and probably moving these pumps somewhere else. I know I've said previously that it would be very smart for us to have the pumps on the top of this dam here, and I think that's a great idea. However, we don't have overhangs unlocked yet. We absolutely can unlock them, but if we're going to be serious about using these things, then we're going to have additional metal, which we're working on. But just for the sake of what we have going on here, I can't really get down here anymore. So, unfortunately, we're going to have to get a little creative with how this is laid out. I think, depending on how we want to set this up, put these guys here. Yeah, I'm going to have the 4x and the 3x to make this mess work. Actually, no. No, I don't. Because I have the power of technology. I could just use 2x. Like I'm gonna be. No, I still need the 3. Oh man, see this is what happens. This is what happens. Well, we need these anyway, so go ahead and get that taken care of. And for no particular reason, do these like this. And I like things being uniform, so I'm just going to come up like so. And then, see if those are 3s and 3s, and then this is going to have to be a 1. What I'll go ahead and do is just make these 2s, because again, there's no reason not to. Well, there may be a reason not to, but not really one I would consider compelling. And yeah, if I do the 2-bys, I can just put all of the pumps up here, and then we don't worry about where the water goes. But I am going to have a storage probably somewhere over here, but that's a problem we can solve later. Look at that. Look at that. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. So, I can already hear you saying, wait, that doesn't solve water storage problem. It just moves stuff away from here. Well, it's part of a process. It gives our builders something to do. And that's fine. That is okay, because we have a wonderful tool called prioritization, which I will go ahead and super deprioritize all of the actual overhangs here. And then I guess, well, there's probably a better way to do this. But I don't want to build these until we've already built a couple more tanks. But I do want them to start working on this, especially the stuff that uses logs and planks, which we are currently producing and running out of storage for. But once we finally get up here, we can go ahead and have, depending on how we want to have this set up, I think probably not a bad idea. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like so. And then, you know, we can build another structure on the backside of this and just have them doubled like that. But when we're not in, you know, fight or flight mode in terms of our water storage, water consumption, water pumping, and all of that jazz, we don't have to have so many pumps. We can just have these guys running all the time and filling up storages. But the easy thing for us to do, and an additional benefit for District 7, currently named District 7, is if we have a bunch of water storage up here as well, then it's in close proximity to the district crossing, and it can be shared a lot easier than the other places that we've been using. So I'm going to make room for not 1, but 2, of course, assuming I can actually get this metal removed, which I'm going to go ahead and get 2 of these guys going in here to start removing that bit, and then hopefully get everything else taken care of. I'm just going to remove these couple trees, and that should substantially help what we've got going on here. I also could, you know, if we really want to be a certain way about it, I could just put a whole bunch of tanks up here as well, which honestly might not be a bad idea. So we'll just go ahead and get rid of those. Why not? Give them something to do. And of course continue building some stuff over this way, but you know what they say? It just takes time. Hey, and we've got an extra beaver. Got an extra beaver we can put to work somewhere. But I don't think that's going to be too much of a concern for very long, because we have a lot of trees that can be cut down. And we've got some stuff that's been paused, some stuff that should not be paused. Or if we feel like, you know, accelerating our gathering of scrap metal, I could just unpause a couple of these guys. I think for right now, though... Oh, there's actually only a couple cuttable trees in range of this. Well, this guy can actually just get moved then. I've got this guy right here, this lumberjack flag, ready to go. They're working. This gatherer flag is gathering. So, well, you know what? We're going to not worry about it. We're going to not worry about it. Because another thing I can do is I can just migrate another beaver to District 7. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. And they'll fill in another job that we otherwise have not been using over here. So, put this thing on triple speed and do what we can do. And yes, we will go ahead and put back in all of these dynamite pieces. Just like so. I'm actually going to go ahead and get the entirety of this area completely detonated, because that's going to be totally fine. And we might as well just come back here as well. Just let them do their thing and see what happens. So this is probably no longer necessary to be a supply, because then, well, if I had it prioritized, the haulers would come and take care of that for me. But that is that's something that's going to be being worked on. That's probably not correct English, but whatever. It's going to be being worked on forever. So we can just kind of ignore it and move on to some other stuff. And you guys do have a lot of thoughts, a lot of suggestions. I try to do what I can do. But again, just be aware that I am but one man commanding a horde of beavers with a very absent-minded brain presently. So I do have notes. I do have notes. Those of you suggesting I take notes, I promise you it does not help. But I do have them. And I can take a look at some of the stuff that you guys have been suggesting that I've noted down here. And yeah, most of it's to do with District 7. Most of it's to do with optimizing paths. A couple of people's, like, measurably upset about the pathing. And look, it's going to get fixed when it gets fixed. I can only do so much at one time. But we are making progress. Things are looking decent. Now, one of the problems we have is that bad water is a little hard to come by in a drought. Well, in terms of flowing to where we currently have pumps. The only way we're going to get more bad water down here is if we continue to let more water in and continue to pump more water. There is no bad water to be found here or here. And while there is a lot of bad water to be found up here, most of it's going to be going away. And somebody was a really smart person, massive, massive sarcasm quotes there, and removed the bad water pumps over here in the areas that actually have bad water. So, yeah, that was not smart. Not an indicator of high intelligence there by yours truly. So, much to most of your chagrin collectively, I will have to rebuild the remote bad water pump. And we're just going to have to live with our own bad choices. But hey, we got irrigated land, which is very good news. Very good news. Go ahead and, I guess, yeah, we don't need to prioritize that. So this irrigating is going to keep most of these crops alive. It's not going to repel contamination. That is, unfortunately, only the purvey of irrigation barriers, which we can't make until we have treated planks, which we don't have, and we won't have for a long time, because there's just so much other stuff to do. But progress will continue on that as it can, and we'll just let the beavers do what beavers do and take care of what they can take care of. Hopefully, this one scrap metal ruin here can be removed sooner rather than later, and we can get going on some other stuff. I don't think I want to build a ton of these tanks up here, but I definitely want to put at least 2, which is why we are doing most of what we're doing here. Just got to get these couple trees out of here as soon as this platform and this staircase are in place, and then we can move on with our lives. Continue to plant some more eggplant. And then some more cassava down here. We will slowly claw our way to food diversity, one crop at a time. It's about the only thing we can really do. Uh-oh, we have too many beavers. We have a homeless beaver. Well, guess what? You know where we got excess capacity is District 7. So, welcome beaver number 14 up here. And we do still have some vacancies. That's because I have... Oh, well, that actually might not have been my smartest thing I've ever done, is having the hauling post be a deprioritized thing. But, you know what we can do? Bye-bye, farmhouse. You can be replaced with crops. Because now I have a farmhouse up here. And it can reach all of this. And we have all of these trees. And there's a couple of you who said that I shouldn't be planting trees here. I should have trees somewhere else. And you're probably right, but we're going to leave these here. We're just going to leave these here. One, because... Okay, well, that was a bad choice for me to click on to illustrate these are already growing, because it's only at 7%. But there's a number of these that are a third or halfway done, and it would be pretty stupid just to rip them out. So, for the time being, until a better option can reliably present itself, they're going to stay here. Because we just need to be growing some trees. We need to be cutting down what we can cut down, and then we need to just be doing something, ideally. Obviously, this is an important project, but I do have it deprioritized. They're working on it anyway because I don't have anything else currently being built. But, like I said, this stuff is important too, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to build an engine. I guess it's going to just have to go here. I don't really have very many other places to pop something like this, but getting any amount of power in here is going to be nice. So this should become now the primary thing they're building. With the exception of this bad water pump, because we don't have metal blocks, because we're not producing enough metal blocks, because somebody didn't build an efficient metal thing. I wonder who that could have been. But yeah, we're already kind of maxing out these engines here. This is why I don't like using engines, because they really don't produce very much power. At least in the vanilla game. So, but it's what we have access to, so that's the only thing we can do. The good news, the very exciting, very explosive news, is that these are all in place. And I think because of the way this is set up, it's going to be almost impossible for it to flood. But I'm going to let them place all that, and then I'm going to just continue making this a minimum of 2 blocks wide, which will require us to also blast this out as well. And then probably, yeah, no, it'll be fine. It'll be alright. It's not actually that much water coming through here. But that should alleviate most of the concern for any flooding that could happen here. And then, of course, we do have this diversionary thing here, which, despite what some of you are saying, is still going to be better than just blocking this off, because it's going to irrigate all this land. And guess what we can do here? That's right, we can grow trees. Very, very large and lovely trees that hopefully during a bad tide obviously are going to be killed unless we have irrigation barriers. But during at least the early part of a drought and all of a temperate cycle, we'll be able to harvest from. So 30 days to grow an oak. Might be foolishness, might not be foolishness, depending on how you want to have things set up. But as it stands presently, there is water here to irrigate. And I want to take advantage of it, so I'm going to grow, instead of oaks, pines, because those still don't take a terribly huge amount of time to grow, but they do have a decent amount of wood. It's 1 every 6 days versus 1 every 9. Versus 1 every, I don't want to do the math, which is still technically better than pine, but it takes a really long time, and I don't know how long that water is going to be there. So, if I had a nickel for every time I said so, I'd have so many nickels I wouldn't need to say so. But, yeah. Put a forester in here. Yeah, oh yeah, just in time for this to become unirrigated. Yep, okay. I deserve everything bad that has ever happened to me. What a... yeah, alright, that's my thoughts on that. But what we can do, because of the incredible power of water dumps, is we can still put water dumps in these pools here. It doesn't have to just be a dumb thing. The only problem is these are going to open. So, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm doing, apparently. Everything I've ever said has been wrong. But, you know... That's a microcosm of this playthrough here. How are we, still about halfway done with that? Okay. Yeah, the problem is, I said, hey, we need to pump water, and then, we pumped water, and all of a sudden, it's the consequences of my own actions anyway. We're just gonna leave that alone. This needs to be added to a path. Yeah, see, there we go. We're starting to get stuff taken care of. That needs to get, collected there. And yes, my metal production is not fast enough. I understand. I know. It's going to be okay. We're going to be fine. Just got to get these guys going here. I have 3 of those pumps up there, and they can pump. We can start removing these guys, which does also mean these tanks can go away, although I do want to keep a couple in this area just so the beavers can, you know, drink something. All in due time. Small improvements over time. That's all we can do. And I think the way this is going now, I'm probably fine just having 2 here. But, you know, if they wanted to take these ruins out and then these as well, then I'm definitely not going to say no. But now we don't have enough storage for the scrap metal, so, you know, it's a whole thing. I have so many homeless beavers now. I just need to build more housing is what needs to happen. I don't really have room to the side here. I do like the idea of them all being in a tower. So I suppose it's time once again to get this whole thing situated. You know the drill. Just replace this like we did before. We still can't fill up all of this storage, and I guess that's fine. You're never going to fill up everything. But we're doing our best. Metal blocks, need I remind you, are still going over here to construct... Well, actually, none of them have made it over here to construct the engine. But they are still going to construct other items as necessary. And hopefully, that happens sooner rather than later. Alright, before I forget, this sluice, as several of you pointed out, was not set correctly. It needs to be closed below contamination. And then this needs to be replaced with a sluice, period, point blank. And I am going to have that go about as low as it can go, but I would like for the water level to drop enough to where the water that's in here is not going to flow out into this spot. So we'll come back to that later. Just know that I do know that that's a thing that we're going to be working on, and that's the way it goes. We're just going to have to do what we have to do. And we've made almost no progress because there's almost no bad water because there's nobody pumping, because there's no pump to pump. That's inside the range of pumpable pump stuff. Say that 5 times fast. Yeah, can't get required materials, can't get required materials. At some point, we will have this done correctly. Yes, I am still aware that I can build bad water discharges. No, we don't have the materials to do it yet, so we'll get there when we get there. Don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. Yeah, we are right up against the capacity of our stuff here. So, man, I hate to say it, but I might have to pause construction of all of this stuff because these guys are going to use all of my metal if I will let them, and I do not want to let them. So that includes you, large tank. I need to send all of the metal everywhere else. That's just the way this goes. But you know what we can build? Look at all these sad pine trees that are going to be completely out of the water in like 4 days. We can get these things gone again so that the water flows around. And then, yes, over here we can do kind of the same thing, except the idea that I had for that was to put a sluice here and then just completely enclose this whole mess. Because what that's going to allow... Can they actually walk on top of the water source? I don't know if they can. But what that's going to do is allow us to close this above 0% contamination, and then this will hold good water until it evaporates in 35, 40 days or whatever. But that will force all of the bad water out through here. Wow, look at them go. Look at them go. I guess they can't walk on top of these, which is a brand new discovery for me. And then this flow through here is pretty straightforward, so I don't think I need to put any sort of, shall we say, guidance in place for water. Plus, we have everything flushing through here. But this, oh, there we go. This guy specifically is just such a huge pain every time there's a bad tide coming through because everything gets stagnant. But this forces it to go around. And we can continue forcing it to go all the way around by just expanding this. That was always allowed, so I'll take care of that. 22%, and it's about to be completely, and I mean completely dry up here in a little bit. But that's fine. Again, life goes on. But we're not going to have any more dynamite until we have this guy finished. And guess what? It's not finished because I need more metal blocks. So they're going as fast as they can, but they are not going to be able to get there until we have more power. So, I bet you can't guess what we're going to do next. That's right, it's another engine. Absolutely nobody could have thought of that. I think it's probably a bad idea to completely block this off. But I also don't really have very much extra at all. Oh, I'm better off, honestly, just putting another whole set of things up here. Yes, that is the technical term. Whole set of things to do actual... Why is my mouth disconnected from my brain at this point in time? Scavenger flag. Smelter. Where can I pop this thing? And that's not tremendously helpful there. That's also not helpful at all because they can't get into it. And that's also not going to work because of reasons. Okay, this is going to have to be enough. It's going to have to be enough. Engine, go here. I need to be able to smelt metal in this district. That is pretty much the only way that's going to happen. But guess what? Guess what? You got to have scrap metal to build this, and you got to have regular metal to build this. And oh no, we have an engine here, and we have an engine here. This one's already being constructed. Well, why don't you just put your metal thing over there? You're absolutely right. It was stupid for me to try to build it over here. Thank you very much. Oh boy. Yeah, that's just, it's just going to go there. I know it's not close to the scrap metal. It doesn't matter. Because I really should be trying to make this as compact as possible. It's alright. If you think I'm insane, that makes 3 of us. So, moving on. How are we... Okay, the trees are still kind of wet here. Halfway done. Even if I just get a little bit, just a little bit here, then that's fine. Yes, I know there's dead trees here that we can cut down. The point was not to cut down trees. The point was to start farming additional trees. So, if we're truly desperate for logs, yes, we can cut these down. But I do want to start using this area, get in the mindset of using this area as a tree farm because it is remote. And presently, it's still part of the main district, and I just feel like it's better to have something that you can do with all this stuff. Look at this. Some genius allowed them to just do this nonsense. And now they can't reach this. Oh, the choices that we make. The choices that we make, friends. See, now I can't even get back here at all. I'm going to have to... I'm going to have to remove these levees unless I want to just, you know what? You know what? Yeah, I'm just going to do it. Oh, I got to get rid of these 2 trees so I can put a bridge in so I can build this stuff so I can build the rest of this stuff. Oh man. Comedy of errors is not a sufficient descriptor. But it's fine. You guys haven't abandoned me yet. And I do appreciate that. Hey, we have metal blocks now. Does that mean we have... No, it doesn't. Come on. Come on. Build this thing. Just make it happen. Just make it happen, please. Do me a kindness. They're not even putting the metal blocks in the engine either. Oh, somebody just delivered something. Hey, it's another metal block. Good. Make it happen, folks. So, I guess another thing that at least one person suggested was that we utilize the beautiful lanterns we have access to go across the top of the dam. And we do have the indoor lanterns that we've done before. We also have these paper lanterns that I really, really like. But they cost dynamite, so I'm definitely not building those. These cost treated planks, so I'm definitely not building those. And these cost dynamite, so I'm definitely not building those. So I can either build the street lantern for 4 planks and 2 logs, or I can build the indoor lantern for 2 logs. Well, I got the planks. But I think... you know what? There's no sense just being ridiculous about it. I'll just put these things up here. That works. That works, friends. Just make those things look a little bit nicer. And then every beaver going to the district crossing is going to get that bonus, which is great. Love to see that. Now, did they build the bad water pump? Yes, they did. They absolutely did. Very good news. So soon we can have more dynamite, which means we can have more blowing up, which means we can have more fun. And if they ever figure out how to make metal get over there, then we can have all that stuff taken care of as well. So this is taken care of here. Get that done. This is just missing this single. And now this is ready to go. Next time we have any sort of good tide or bad tide. And then once this is finished, then this can get built and my shame can be forgotten. And then, friends, we can start on the next phase of all of this fun. And that is going to be, I think, for the benefit of everyone's collective sanity, once the water level gets low enough where I can uncover this, taking this out, blasting down, including down to this level, and then just making this channel go all the way out, as one does. So we do have a nice escape here. I don't think it's going to be any issues with overflowing. Should we need to use emergency spillway stuff? So probably going to be able to get all of this, well, a decent portion of it taken care of without having to send anybody down there. Obviously, this is first priority. They're going to take care of that. These guys are going to finish this, and then they can come back and do everything else. 65%. Very good. Very good there. I believe, depending on how we want to play this, I probably can just put a water dump here and keep these trees alive long enough for it not to be a problem. Or I could, against probably almost everyone's judgment, just manually close this. Because you know that's not going to go wrong. Manually close this and then dump water in here. I'm not currently worried about it. I think it's going to be fine. We just need to make sure that we're, you know, actively trying to not sabotage ourselves for the future. So maybe we just avoid doing that. Oh, you don't have anything left to do? Oh. Well, I forgot you were even here at all. So I guess you can go do something else. All right. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. We're already making some good progress there. I do want to go ahead and start building our dam here. And yes, I am going to, just so this lines up perfectly, I am going to start building straight across here. I know it's not the best, most efficient way to do it, but it's the way I'm going to do it. So just be aware. Be aware that that is what's happening. And hopefully we can all just accept that and move on with our lives. So, to make this happen, I will pop this in, I guess, yeah. Pop this in here, and then we will utilize our favorite construction method of suspension bridges to go across here. But I think now I have enough science, and we have basically infinite science coming pretty soon anyway. 6x1 suspension bridge. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. A beautiful thing this will be to take care of all of this at one point in time. Yes, I know I do have to get down here to get rid of this tree. That will be part of our construction here. So, yeah. Gonna be fine. Gonna be fine. I'm gonna go ahead and put a ladder down here just so we can have access that way. Just to get rid of this one single tree. And yes, I'm putting it at this exact spot because I want there to be a sharp right angle to go through the emergency exit sluice so that no nasty water is stuck here. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. That gives them something fun to occupy their time with. Still don't have this, really? Really, guys? Come on. Come on. So this smelter is definitely going to be done before the engine is ready to go. Oh well. How unfortunate. Life goes on. But at least we're pumping bad water, which is being taken down here to turn into dynamite, which we are then using. See, everything works out. Everything works out beautifully. We still have contamination in here. Oh, it says 0. Did we actually get all of it out? I would be absolutely shocked if that were the case. But, you know, maybe we did. Maybe we didn't. But maybe we did. All Alright, so this is ready to go. I guess I can just leave this bridge here. There's no reason to get rid of it. This needs to be closed above contamination 0%, which we already had it set to. So that's good. I just feel like checking that one. And then, you know, because I don't trust myself. That's a very, very dangerous thing. Just make sure this is all good. I know we have 66 days until we're going to see any liquid come through here at all, but... Ugh. Close below contamination. I guess I could just say 1%. A couple people in the comments asking why I even bother to set it at 2%. Why not just set it at 0%? Well... Wait a second. You know what I didn't do? I didn't put sluices here. So guess what? These all have to go away. And I'm going to go ahead and... Yeah, I know we don't need 3 of them, but... I'm just going to put 3 sluices in, because why not? These need to be set not to close above downstream depth ever. Close above contamination 0%, because we're going to have this go all the way out. So, yes, friends, no more compromise ever. No more what-ifs. So, the single sluice here now... Wait a second. Okay, no, it's alternating. So, the contamination isn't actually 0. It's between 0 and 1, because this just keeps going. And it wasn't the downstream depth, because... Or maybe it was. Alright, so maybe I actually have no clue what I'm talking about, and you can safely ignore everything I've ever said or will say. Or, maybe there's actually still a little bit of contamination, but it's not going to show me fractions of a percent or whatever, so... Life goes on. 3 more metal blocks. 3 more, and then we'll have this engine complete. And then, hopefully, we will finally be free of all of the nonsense up here. I've got 4 beavers that aren't able to exist with the job down there. So guess what? 17 up here in District 7. Which means we should now have a completely balanced workforce. Very good. 2 more metal blocks, and then we will be in business, folks. The wait is absolutely excruciating. But life goes on. This one is almost out of the water, ready to go. We are starting to have some crops die, which I guess gives us a pretty decent idea of how far the irrigation goes, which I thought it was going to be a little bit further. But it does look like all of this will be saved, so that's good. That's looking good. Guess no reason to force them not to get these things out of here. Never hurt anybody. Now, how are things going here? Still a few left. Don't have any of these placed. But the backup dam is coming in kind of nicely. I know the metal might be at a little bit in short supply, but we'll be alright. We'll be okay. I guess if this is all at 0%, I could... Wait, this needs to have levees anyway, so... Pop that guy there. Can I bridge it with the 3? Ooh, that's rough. Oh, I should have just done 2 5s, but you know how it goes. Create a little bit of a crossing there to get the rest of this built, and then of course we'll have to demolish it to put the top bit in there. But yes, friends, progress is being made in a tremendous way. Now there's only a few of these left. I am pretty sure this should be sufficient. So I'll take this out, put this last piece in here. Maybe for the benefit of my sanity, I'll put in these here as well, and then we'll get those situated from up top. Hopefully. Yeah, just get those prioritized. Sluices in place. As soon as this is ready to go across here, then I can just completely remove this thing. Not going to need that anymore, which will be a nice thing to take care of. I know the storage has basically been full this whole time, but I do want to make sure the metal is going first to those sluices, which it is. Next to this engine, which it is. Good. That means we can build this tank now. All the rest of the metal can go there. And then I guess I have space for another tank here if I get rid of these guys, which should not be too much of a burden to accomplish. Getting that taken care of. And there we go. We're going to have a tremendous quantity of water, well, relatively, stored up here and allow us to continue pumping. But I can hear you saying, these things are almost out of water to pump, and you would be correct. So obviously we are still going to need to have some down here. But that is part of the fun, right? You have things prepared in stages. And I don't necessarily want to put pumps underwater that are going to be flooded all the time. This was kind of a necessity for this district. But, you know, little bits and pieces working together to do some measurable good by the time everything's all said and done. I don't think anyone's going to get upset about that. I think, though, what I can go ahead and do is just set this off, because they can't actually get down there. And that, just as it is now, should be totally fine. In fact, I really don't need for this to be a thing at all, do I? Well, I wanted to kind of soften this and not have it reconstrict itself, so if I got that out of there and that out of there, then that does open up that choke point a little bit, so yeah, okay. Okay, that's fine like that, but I did want to get this taken care of. We are going to have additional depth here once we get that all taken care of. But we're making progress. We're getting things done. And despite being on triple speed, we are 25% of the way through the drought. It's a long one, folks. It's a long one. And I don't want to do a time-lapse just yet. But we might need to at some point in the relatively near future. Not this episode, though. My goal for this episode is going to be, before we say goodbye, to take this thing all the way up where it needs to go. And then have this discharge thing routed appropriately as well. So we need to go down, ideally, need to go down... Oh, hold on. Before this gets done, I can go ahead and get this all the way across. 2 wide should be... Yeah, that's more... Let's go 3. Let's go 3 wide. Now I can actually have those guys go down there, because there's no pollution whatsoever. Yeah, this is going down 3 from where it currently is, which means this also has to go down 3. And guess what? We've got extract, which I somehow failed to remember. Well, we can do the research. We have the science. Just go ahead and unlock both of those, because again, we have unlimited science over time. But our unlimited science is currently sapping all of our possibilities away from everything else, so it's going to be paused. I can't automate this, unfortunately, but I think there's a mod, Smart Power, that might do that. I have to look in to see if I can get that, if I remember. But now I can have the smelter going, and I can have the centrifuge going, and we certainly have bad water, so we can actually put in the multi-dynamite. So this will need to be, on this backside, need to be 3s. And then, like I said, everything else needs to be 3s. This one can start out as a, I guess start out as a 2. This one will start out as a 3. I am going to clear a little bit of room for this. And since this is already in place, might as well just go ahead and set it off. So this underneath here will need to be 3s. This will need to be 3s. This will need to be 3s. This needs to be a 2. Oh, hello. This needs to be a 2 and then a 3. This also needs to be a 2 and then a 3. Which means this needs to be a 2. And technically all the way out needs to be 2s. Except for here, which can be 1s. And then I can blast through this. It's a lot of dynamite. A lot of dynamite. But With the help of the extract, it doesn't have to be nearly as much dynamite. It just has to be dynamite. Okay, this levee I'm going to go ahead and prioritize along with the bridge so we can actually get across here so I can get rid of this. And also go ahead and get rid of this deep bad water pump and then this tank as well because we don't need that anymore. Ah, did we only grew a couple of trees. Well, what matters is that we tried, and in the process learned something that will most likely be ignored. Well, that's showbiz, baby. Yeah, this is going about as fast as it can. I think we're okay. Got 4 extra beavers. Nothing really for them to do. I guess I could continue getting some scrap metal, but we're not really going through it that fast. These guys are fine. I've got my hauling posts, hopefully, yep, all filled up. Did they finish? Okay, they did. They finished this. So that's progress. This one's waiting on metal blocks. I guess at this point now it's just a race to get this stuff finished. Seems to be going a little bit slower than I would prefer. Well, let's see. The best, easiest way for me to place all this is probably... Ooh, because this is involved down here. Gonna have to be... Probably just put some stairs there. I know this is not gonna be super popular, but... We'll just put this in again. Why not? Right? Yes, I love convoluted pathing. So remember how I said I wasn't going to do a time-lapse? Yeah, well, guess what? We're definitely doing a time-lapse because I'm not going to sit here and make you guys sit here too as this happens in real time. So, while they're coming in to do all this, we'll go ahead and do our end of episode fun because we are getting close to the hour mark here. I appreciate you deeply and sincerely, and I mean it. Well, I guess that's what sincerely means, but I digress. Can't do these videos without you. And I definitely can't dedicate as much time as I currently do in my life to producing silly videos about a beaver game on this fun, fantastic, and sometimes weird corner of YouTube without your support, especially not without the support of the Beard Boosters whose names you see here, directly funding the channel and keeping it free from advertisements baked in from mobile games and earbuds and frozen food and sketchy therapists and all that other stuff, which... I have no desire to advertise or endorse. Instead, we can just spend our time focusing on playing games and not worrying about whatever stupid garbage somebody wants to throw at you guys. Whatever. That's very important to me that we don't do that, and those folks make it possible. They've also made it possible for me to replace this computer that has tried to kill itself approximately 18 times in the past 2 weeks. So hopefully it can make it another week. So I can make it over to Micro Center and buy some parts, and maybe do a special stream for the boosters as I put it together. We'll see what happens. I'm still trying to figure out logistics for that, so I unfortunately can't promise anything yet. But I would like to do that, just to express my support and appreciation to you guys who make that stuff possible, because let's be honest, if I didn't have that, then we'd be taking a break for a long time. Well, I saved up some money to replace the computer, but the contributions really do go a tremendously long way when you guys support the channel through memberships or gifted memberships or whatever it is. So, all that being said, let's see if the beavers manage to finish all of this stuff before I run out of patience while sitting here waiting for the time-lapse to finish. We'll see you on the other side. So, as you can tell, this is not finished, and there's a couple of reasons why. First, we don't have any more bad water to pump in any accessible locations. This, despite still running pumps, is almost entirely clean at this point. And if we want any more bad water, we are going to have to go all the way down here, which is going to be a process. But, yeah, we've successfully pumped a lot of this out into storage. I did build a couple more tanks. I know sometimes you guys don't like it when I actually do stuff during time lapses, but we do have, unfortunately, an incredible need to get stuff done, and I can't just sit here and wait for, like, I don't know, 20-some, 30-some days to go by. So we've got some decisions to make before we, kick things off next episode, because I really, really need this to be ready to go. So what we might have to do is we might have to reconsider how this is getting pushed out, because I think what we really probably should end up focusing on, you guys weigh in the comments, call me an idiot for doing this the wrong way, whatever, I don't care, but if you want to see a specific approach taken with this diversion, please do let me know, because I think what's going to end up having to happen is we focus the dynamite on blasting this out, and then like a small pool right next to it. So at the very least, we can get the sluices down to this same level, and then that be it. Because we've placed a bunch of this dynamite already, but as it stands now, we can't make any more explosives without sending beavers all the way down here, which honestly we probably should. But there's not a ton of explosive juice here. That's not what it's called. I know. It's going to be too long of a process for me to get away with doing before next episode. So that's the fun we find ourselves in now, and this seems like it's still technically making bad water, so we're gonna let them keep on doing their thing. But yeah, that's about the size of it. So I know we already did our inter-episode stuff, but I figured I'd give you a little bit of an update instead of just ending on the time lapse. So you know how it goes. We got some decisions to make next episode, but we've done very well through the drought so far, and I think we could be pretty proud of that. So whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you back in this series on Tuesday. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.